Hey everyone, Jewel back with another super cool astrology video. And I wanted to talk about the sun square the moon in Synastry and what happens when we see this very interesting aspect crop up between two people. So the sun is somebody's identity. What they want to be seen and appreciated for has a lot to do with our actions and what we do, how we, behave in the world, and the behaviors that we want to be seen and appreciated for doing. And the moon is our habitual emotional patterns. It's really our needs. The sun has a lot to do with our wants, and the moon has a lot to do with our needs. And, well, the moon is everything to do with our needs. And so when we have these two meeting in a square aspect, which is an aspect of tension, an aspect of learning, we tend to see some difficulties in understanding each other. And this is actually an aspect that creates great interest, at least initially. This is the number one that you look for in the charts and synastry of people that are involved in an affair. Because this one creates an element where two people see each other as very different, very exotic, very mysterious, and worth checking out. And they typically end up in the bedroom pretty quickly if we have other stuff going on that will support that. We want to look for some Mars-Venus linkages. But even without that, we see people that are very fascinated with each other with this particular square. So the sun is somebody's behaviors, and the moon is somebody's requirements. And so when these meet in a square aspect, the moon person often feels very not understood, not emotionally cared for by the sun person, because it's not because the sun person doesn't care for them. It's not because the feelings aren't there. It is because the sun person's natural behaviors, characteristics, and personality, identity, does not naturally behave or act out or emote in ways that connect with the moon person emotionally in the way that the moon person understands. So the result is the moon person does not feel nurtured, cared for, loved, safe, all the things that the moon stands for. They don't feel they're getting their needs met by the behaviors and the basic personality and identity of the sun person. It isn't that the feelings are missing. It is an issue with the style. The style of behavior from the sun person just doesn't naturally connect in a way where the moon person understands that style as, or recognizes that style as something that reminds them of the past and therefore makes them feel habitually nurtured. So we have to be really conscious when we have this particular square if we don't want this to descend into a very limited relationship. Because if we aren't having our needs met, we are not in a healthy relationship. Our needs are not negotiable. Our wants are. And at the want level, we see the sun person, and at the need level, we see the moon person. So the moon person has to get their needs met. That's a requirement for all of us. And so in the behaviors and characteristics of the sun person, those needs are never going to be met. So the sun person has to be really conscious about what they can do to go out of their normal comfort zone, meaning their normal way of behaving. The moon person has to come out of their comfort zone, meaning their normal way of feeling or habitually relating to the world on an unconscious level. We have to come to an understanding that both of us are going to have to come out of our usual habits, our usual expectations, our usual ways of behaving on the conscious and unconscious level, if we're going to be able to love each other in a way that each other understands. So the moon person has a hard time with appreciating a lot of the characteristics of the sun because they feel like they're being left out emotionally. The sun person has a hard time understanding the needs and characteristics of the moon person because they're so alien to what they do, you know, what someone needs and what I do, very different. So the moon person has to get really clear about what they need. And they need to tell the sun person what that is because they have very different love languages. The sun person needs to then have the opportunity to step into that new space of clearly knowing what the moon person needs. Now, not everybody's going to do that because there's going to be some sun people that are like, you know what, go find something that works better for you. I'm me. You know, if we have something that has a very strong ego or identity, or, you know, if we have a moon person that is very much, you know, maybe they have a lot of Pluto aspects with their moon, or a lot of 8th house aspects with their moon, they can be very entrenched in their emotional defenses. And so they can have a really, really hard time, if that's that type of person, in exerting themselves, in emoting their emotions, showing their emotions, expressing their emotions to the point that the sun person gets the picture. Because emotional availability, emotional openness, vulnerability, making your needs known, they don't do that with moon, Pluto aspects. So, you know, the individuals are always going to color how every aspect in synastry does or does not play out. And this is one that, you know, if we're not both willing to be different in how we have always related to other people or to the world, this relationship is really not going to go anywhere. We're both going to feel, the sun person's going to feel unappreciated, the moon person is going to feel unseen and uncared for, and we can't have a relationship when we basically feel dissatisfaction at the luminary level. So get clear about what it is you want, moon person. Make your needs known. Sun person, it is then up to you to decide if you can step up to that, if that is something that you can meet. It's probably not going to be that big of a deal. You're going to have to adjust some behaviors. You're going to have to maybe buy gifts that you would not normally buy in order to make that person feel like they are being loved, cared for. Cared for. See, the moon is caring, nurturing. They need to be able to feel like they're being cared for, nurtured, and therefore having their emotional needs met in a way that is satisfying to them. And if there is love there, this is one that we can overcome through conscious effort and through approaching each other in a very conscious and understanding and non-judgmental fashion. So I hope this was helpful. If it was, please subscribe to my channel. You can find me on the internet at truthandaspectastrology.com. You can find me on Facebook at Truth and Aspect Astrology as well. Yes, I do private consultation, and I will be back super soon with more super cool videos. Bye-bye.